Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel and today's video. So the Swedish sentence of the day is gonna be I am going to review a lot of products today, which is in Swedish jag kommer recensera mycket produkter idag. Jag kommer recensera mycket produkter idag. Jag kommer recensera mycket produkter idag. So that is actually what I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna review a lot of products today because I have been a little bit behind on my reviewing things and I felt like, how can I do this? And I just didn't want to sit down and talk, so I thought that it would be a little bit more fun for you guys to see how the how the products apply to my face and so on. So for instance, I have a few products that I'm gonna review. I'm gonna review the Natasha Denona Bloom Palette, which I've been using a lot off camera. I'm gonna review the Linda Hallberg Spectral Palette. I do have a first impression with this, but I only have 2 looks up on my channel, which is this one and then my first impression. But I have used this a couple of times off camera, so it's not gonna be a total like me basing it off only using it twice. Then I had a Swedish brand reach out to me which does brushes, and the brand is I think called Hiccup. I'm gonna leave the spelling just here on the screen just so you can see how it pronounces. But this brand is created by a Swedish YouTuber called Vilma Holmqvist. I know who she is, I used to follow her, and I do know a lot about her brands. I know that she makes vegan brushes and so on, and I have been looking at these brushes, so when they reached out to me and wanted to send me some products, I was like, oh yes! So first and foremost, I have their eyeshadow brush set, and then I have the face set. I've used all of their brushes except for one, which was just an eyebrow brush, and in the end of the video, I'm just gonna sum up a little bit of what I thought about each and every product. If you want to see how I got this look and want to hear my thoughts, then please keep on watching. So I'm gonna start off with the Linda Hallberg Spectral Palette. If you haven't seen it, it looks like this. Are you in focus? Yes, you are. Mine is a little bit dirty. I have only done one tutorial with this, which was my first impression, but I have used it off camera. I've gotten some questions if I can do another look with this palette, but the thing is that I have been very limited in my time of filming, and I have needed to film a true crime video, and then I've needed to film a lot of other stuff, so it kind of just got in the back. But now we are going to get right into it, and I think I want to do something like a pink crease and then have this all over the lid. And then I also got a PR package from a brand called Hiccup. They are vegan brushes, and now I'm gonna use their eyeshadow set. I love brushes, and brushes is one of my weakness. I don't know why, but I wanted to buy the BH Cosmetics, one of the BH Cosmetics sets, but now I got this, so I kind of settled my brush need. So I'm starting off with the shade Unknown, and then I am going to start putting this in my crease. First and foremost, what I can say is that this brush, which is their 113, seems to be a little bit stiffer than what I'm used to, but that's not a bad thing. It's just that I wouldn't use this as my first brush. I would use this as my second brush. The second brush I'm gonna use is the 120, which is just like a little fluffier packing brush, and I'm going to take the shade Phantom, and that is the first time I'm using this shade, but I think that is the only shade that I haven't used. And I'm gonna pack this all over my lid. Nothing to complain about. It packs on beautifully, like the brush really packs it on beautifully. And then the color is pigmented. Okay, so let me start reviewing this palette a little bit. I will say this, the shimmers, which are these 2, so this one and then also this one, are not my favorite. I'm gonna put up a little clip on the screen right now where I have swatched some of my just favorite shades from other palettes, that is shimmer or glitters, and just so you can see the difference. So what I will have on the screen right now are shades that similar to them. They're not supposed to dupe them, but just to show you how they compare in formula wise, just so you can see that these shimmers are pretty lackluster. Now if you like that, then by all means. I think, if I'm gonna be totally honest, that maybe that was what Linda was going for, just because I think that you can then use them as in your crease and you can blend them out. Now I'm taking the 118 brush, which is a detailed crease brush, and I'm just gonna start blending out the edges right here. It does seem to turn a little bit purple, so I might actually go over this with the shade Eerie, just so we get a little bit of a neater blend, but I don't have anything on my brush at the moment. So I'm gonna try and just cover up this pink a little bit with the shade Eerie, as I said, which was the beautiful purple. So speaking of the mattes a little bit, I do think that the mattes are good, but I do also think that they are beginner friendly. I think that anyone could use this palette without having to struggle. I think that the mattes are pigmented, but they're not too pigmented that a beginner would struggle with them. But they are not super sheer that a pro would have to build them up. So I do think that you can do sheer looks, but I also do believe that you can do really intense looks with this. So I do want to add in a little bit of shimmer. After all, it's me. So I'm taking a little bit of my NYX glitter glue, just taking a little piece on my hands, just doing like this, and then I'm just gonna do this a little bit sloppy and just kind of put it something like this, like just in the middle. Now I'm taking the Hiccup brush 116, which is just a small packing brush, and I'm going to pick up the shade Abstract and then spray my brush as well. I think that is all I'm gonna do for my top lids. So quick little thing right here now, just to end up this review. Two shimmers right here, a little bit too lackluster for my personal taste. 4 mattes, absolutely beautiful. This is, as you can see, a little bit sheer when you pick it up. As you can see right here, it's a little bit more sheer, but I do believe that it's very transformative, which means that depending on what kind of base you have, it will transform itself. And then this shimmer, I think, is beautiful. It's a little bit stiff when you pick it up, but damn, that impact is life. It's so beautifully and glittery, it's just insane. Having said that, the price, it has to come down to what you think. $59 is a lot of money. Yes, I am aware of that. And do I think that it's worth it? No, I don't actually think it might be. I do believe that I have a little bit of a biased opinion because it's Linda Hallberg and she's very big in Sweden. So I do believe that me as a Swede thinks a little bit more highly of it just because I am a Swede and she is also. But if you're just an outsider, I don't think that you would think that it's worth it. Breaks my heart to say that, but I, on my channel, thrive on being as honest as I can be, no matter which brand it is or no matter who it is. Okay, so lashes are on and they're still drying a bit, so if you see some lumps, that is it. But now I'm going to take this Milani Prep and Sooth Camellia. I used this in a makeup tutorial. I said that I purchased it because Beauty Bay put the wrong price on it, so I bought it. Usually I would not use an oil as a primer. That's not really my, it's not really my thing, just because I feel like it's gonna disrupt the foundation and make it separate and so on. But I have actually, really been liking this. It's not as oily as, I don't know how to explain it, but it's not oily like an oil that is just gonna sit on top of your skin. It just gives such a beautiful sheen to the skin. I use this a lot actually. I mean, you can see, okay, doesn't seem like I've used that much, but you don't need a lot either. I usually just take 1 or 2 drops on my hands and put it in my forehead, on my cheeks and my nose, on my like everyday, because I don't wear foundation, and but it still gives like such a sheen to the skin, which I just really love. It gives a beautiful glow. Now I'm gonna use my Ardell Camouflage Foundation. You can see that I've used this so much. I feel so embarrassed because I don't use any other foundation, but it's been a while since I've been this obsessed with a foundation. I just really love it. And I am going to take the Hiccup brush, which is the 115 round kabuki brush, to apply this. It just says, I need to translate this from Swedish to English. It says that this will apply the foundation really good without it leaving streaks on your face. And this can be used for powder and mineral foundation as well. And this is one of Vilma's favorite brushes from the line. Dang, I'm already done blending it out on my cheek, and I actually don't have any streaks or anything. Do you see that? Wow, I'm actually really impressed by this brush. Good job, Vilma. This foundation has a medium coverage, but I would say that you can build it up to full. It's gonna be look very dewy now, just because I have an oil as a primer, but I would say that it is dewy, but it's not overly dewy on its own. It has more of that beautiful natural sheen, but I usually apply it with a sponge, and that kind of takes away a little bit of the coverage. But this foundation brush, you guys, dang it. The foundation wears really good during the day. It has some resistance to sweat, but it's not like full sweat proof. But if you go out jogging and pours on you, then it will of course wear off. So I thought that I would review the Milani concealer today. This is the Conceal and Perfect concealer, and I have this in the shade 105. So just talking about the brush, I do feel like the brush, it's so hard. The brush actually blends away a little bit of product on my nose, but it only did it on my nose, so I do believe it's my nose because I always have problem with my nose. One thing I will say about the concealer, by the way, is that when you go in and apply it, I would go in with my concealer wand coated, because yesterday when I used it, I realized that it took away the foundation that I had on my nose when drying it along the bridge of my nose. So it kind of went away, which was a bummer, and it left this streaky mark, which wasn't that cute. Back to the brush, I think that the brush blended it out beautifully. It's not the best concealer brush I've ever used. I would rather use this for like cream contouring, which I do all the time, but I'm not gonna cream contour today just because of the fact that I'm doing this video and I don't want it to be like too long and I don't have any cream products to review. But I do like the brush. I felt like it was beautifully, and I do actually, it's softer than I thought. So when I just tried this on my hand yesterday, I was a little bit scared that it would be a little bit too harsh for me, but I actually don't think it is. Okay, so talking about the concealer, I have seen a lot of people compare this to the Born This Way concealer, which I don't really agree with. I would say that this concealer is a little bit lighter and it's not as thick as the Born This Way concealer is. The Born This Way concealer is very thick and very full coverage, and you don't need a lot. Now, you don't need a lot of this either, but it's way more liquidy. It's not liquidy, but it's way more liquidy than the Too Faced concealer. I do think that it covers up really good, and I do like it on my skin. Don't necessarily know if I would repurchase this, just because of the fact that it is kind of expensive in Sweden, and you do get 5 milliliters. But I do think it's a great concealer. If I would get it on sale, then yes, I would repurchase it. I don't have a new powder to try out, but I thought that we would do powder anyway, just because I have this brush, and this is the brush I'm mostly excited about. I don't know why. So I'm just gonna pick out a powder and then we're gonna powder the face. You know what? I'm kidding. I'm gonna review this powder from Catrice. So the powder from Catrice is the Glow Illusion Loose Powder, and it does pick up a lot. I am gonna tap it off, and then I'm just gonna set it on my face right here. I would say that I'm not fully set, but that is actually the powder's fault. I'm not gonna use any more of this powder because I don't actually like it. So you do get 11 grams in this powder, and I would not repurchase it just because it is that super strange formula. I mean, you can even see how it has lumped up in the packaging right there. And when trying to get it out, you don't get that much out. I hope you can see because it is so thick. So you kind of need to take this off and then pour it into the lid, which I don't really like it. Also, I would not bake with the powder because it will make your under eyes darker, which makes me believe that it's not translucent. I can feel that it gives a little bit of color to my skin, but it's not like it darkens up my foundation just a tad, but it's not anything like that. I do like the finish of it, and I do think that it sets fine. I am still a little bit tacky, but I don't mind that because I do prefer dewy skin. I am going to take this brush and put on some powder under my eyes as well, because it did say that you could use this for smaller areas as well, just because it is kind of pointy. I'm gonna take my Fenty powder in the shade Butter or Butter. Definitely can set it really nice. So I zoomed you guys in to do my under eyes, and I'm going to take the shade Phantom from the Linda Hallberg Spectral Palette. Some of you say that I say Linda Hallberg, like berry, like Linda Hallberg. But I say Linda Hallberg, not Hallberg. 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 You know? Not berry. Hallberg. Hallberg. Just wanted to set the record straight. Just taking the shade Phantom, as I said, taking this under my eyes. Then I'm taking the shade Unknown, blended in a little bit with the shade Eerie, going in with Eerie on the brush last. Now I'm gonna take a little bit of the shade Unknown on this packing brush from the brand Hiccup. And then I'm taking the shade Illusion, which is the silver, tapping it off. I did not dip in much because I just want a little bit. Yeah, let me do my mascara and then I'll be right back so we can finish up the rest of the face. So something I actually forgot to do is, you see my waterline, I purchased some gel eyeliners from Revolution Pro. So this is the shade Trendy Turquoise, which I have in my waterline. Then I have the shade Burgundy Red. And then also the shade Ocean Blue. I do like these ones. I think that they are phenomenal. However, I do think that the ColourPop ones are a little bit better. They last the entire day. These do not. They last a very, very long time, and they are super duper good. So I would purchase them if you are on a hunt, but don't want to order from ColourPop since they are located in the US. Or maybe if you don't like ColourPop or whatever, then I would purchase these because they are really, really good. But I would say that the ColourPop ones are like better. I actually have a few new bronzers, but I thought that I would talk about two of them. So I'm gonna start off with my Fenty one. This is the one in the sun. It looks like this. So I'm gonna start off with the Fenty one and just apply it so you can see here on my cheekbones. So I can go in with this and then show you how the Milani one applies. Okay, so here you have it chiseled in to my cheekbone, or on my cheeks anyway. I like it. I think the finish is good. I do like that it's not overpowering and that you can build it up. I feel like this is the sort of bronzer, just like my Take Home the Bronze bronzer from the Balm, that you can actually go in with almost as much as you want without it being too much. However, there is something about this shade that just doesn't make it a favorite and doesn't make me obsessed about it. I do think it's nice. I'm gonna use it because I do like it. However, it's not in my top 3, top 4 bronzers, and probably not a bronzer that I would purchase again if I ran out of it. Now I'm going to go in with the Milani bronzer. This is the shade Sun Kissed. This is the Silky Matte bronzer. And then I'm taking this on the same brush because this is darker, so it doesn't really matter. Now keep in mind that this is on top of the Fenty bronzer. This is, as I said, it's darker, and I love this bronzer. It's so beautiful. It is super matte. Oh, so beautiful. Sometimes you want a little bit of sheen to your skin, and sometimes you want it to be super matte. I also feel like this is way more cool toned than the Fenty bronzer. The Fenty bronzer is a little bit more, it's not warm. I would say that it's a little bit more neutral, but it still has that just warmth to it, while this is a little bit more cool toned. Yeah, so if I could recommend one, I would purchase the Milani one. I'll probably have some swatches on the screen right now so you can see the difference. Now I'm going to take this brush, which is the 114 tapered brush. Blush, which is their most popular brush. It's airy and easy to apply both bronzer and blush, good for all powder products. However, we're gonna use cream today, so we're gonna try it with cream. So I'm going to review this Natasha Denona Bloom Palette as well, but first and foremost, I'm dipping into this blush, which is the cream blush. I'm tapping it a little bit off to my thigh and then I'm gonna start applying this. Now, as said, this is supposed to be for powder, but I just thought that it could be fun to try it with a cream. So we're just gonna start applying it. Taking a bit more. I think that this brush worked good for the blush. However, I do prefer my Duo Fiber brush. I do feel like that is a little bit better at picking up the product. Now I have to dip in a couple of times actually to get some product onto my face. So talking about the Natasha Denona Bloom Palette, I have to say that I absolutely adore this blush palette. Now you can see that I look very clown-like because I have a lot of blush on, but I do like blush and I do tone it down later on. So we're gonna dip into the glow powder right now, and I usually just apply it with some form of stiffer brush. I use this every single day for my everyday life, so I love it. It definitely gives the skin like that glass-like effect. It's so beautiful, but the one shade that I cannot use is this one, just because it's too dark for me, unless I want to use it as a blush topper, but I'm not a lot for like peachy blushes, so I don't really use it for that. However, this is totally worth the money in my personal opinion. So we're just putting down the cream base. It's not gonna do much just for the eye, but it is gonna make the highlight just really get that glass-like effect. It's a little bit glittery, but when applied to this cream base, it's so stinking beautiful. So you can't really see that much of a difference right now on my cheeks, but we are going to apply the highlight on top of this right now. So the last brush I have for that is the multi-highlighting brush. I don't know about this actually. It is a little bit stiffer, so I do think that it will apply some highlights really good, but I would actually prefer to use this as maybe like a concealer brush, or I don't know. I need to find the right purpose, but I will try it for highlight today. So now I'm gonna dip into the Glow Extreme powder. I can tell right now I don't like this. I'm gonna change brush. Instead, I'm gonna take my e.l.f. brush. This is just an e.l.f. blush brush. Bought this years ago, so I don't really know if this is still available, but here we go. Do you see what I mean? That it gets this glassy skin. It just looks so wet, so intense and like beautiful. I do, however, always drag it down too far down here, as you can see. So I like to go in with my bronzer brush and kind of just go over this a little bit, just like so, to just tone everything down and to get it to blend in a little bit better together. So I do want to give you a little bit of an update on the Natasha Denona Super Glow highlighter. I have the shade Fair, which is the lightest shade, and I said that this was okay, it was fine, but I was a little bit disappointed because of the price. Now, if you watch a lot of my videos, I have already talked about this, but I felt like I wanted to throw it in here anyway. So using a different brush, which is the same e.l.f. brush, it is a little bit fluffier, and I'm just gonna apply this on top of this highlight so you can see. Now I'm going in with just a little bit, but this is best applied with a more airy brush. I'm not gonna go in with too much because I already have too much highlight on. But yeah, as you can see, it's really making such a difference than using a really stiff brush that I used before. Okay, so I just went off camera to apply some liquid lipstick because I don't have any new products. I have been trying to shop my stash a little bit more, and I did find this NYX Liquid Suede liquid lipstick in the shade Life's a Beach. Let me just sum up my thoughts about some of the products. So let's start off with the brushes. So you can buy these brushes in a set of just the eyeshadow brushes. You can buy them individually as well, but you can purchase the set of only eyeshadow brushes and then only the face brushes, and then you can purchase every brush in like one kit. So you do have options if you do go to the website, and if you liked one or two of the brushes, you can only pick them up. I will have a link to the website down below, just so you know. But if I were you, I would get the face brushes and not the eyeshadow brushes. I think the eyeshadow brushes are good, and they are unique to my collection just because the blending brushes are a little bit more stiff than I am used to, which is going to be really good for blending out small areas, but then also to pack on shadow. The only brush that I didn't try was the eyebrow brush, but you know how our eyebrow brushes are. This is a little bit thicker than what I like, and it's just a little bit more bigger in general from what I like. So talking about the face brushes, which are these 5, I did like all of them except for this one. I did not enjoy applying highlight with this. I do need to find some other use for this, maybe to blend out cream contour or something that maybe can work. But the products that the brushes that really stood out to me was, I think, these 3. So I really love the powder brush. I think it's beautifully, and it's big, and it really gets all over the place. I did love the foundation brush. It just blended it out super good without leaving any streaky mess, which is something that you can usually get. And then I do really like this blush brush, but it's not meant for a cream blush. So I'm not gonna use this for cream brush. I'm not gonna use this for cream blush anymore, but I will use it for powder blush, and I do think that it's gonna be a really good brush for that. And then we have this brush, which was the 112 angle kabuki brush, which I think blended everything out beautifully, but I do want to try it for cream contour as well. But these 3 overall really impressed me, and I have to say that overall in general, I think that the brushes that she has made are really nice. They're really unique, I would say. Now, I would say if you live in a country where $59 for an eyeshadow palette is a lot, then no, I don't think that you will think that this palette is worth it. However, in Sweden, the price is standard at $59. I even remember Maybelline taking $59. They took the same price as Linda does for their Maybelline and Gigi Hadid palette. NYX, the biggest NYX palette that has come out, is $59. So $59 in Sweden is not a lot. An ABH shadow palette, I mean, is around $62. Urban Decay is $59 or $58. So that is a normal price in Sweden, and I got it with a 20% off coupon code. To me, yes, it was worth it just because I love the brand, and this shade is very unique to my collection. The duds to me are these 2 two shades, but I would assume that Linda put them there just so you could use them as mattes as well without them having too much impact, because I don't think you can use these as matte at all. So make it as you will, but as I said, I don't think that this palette will be for everyone, and I don't feel like I'm whoa with this palette, which is something that really it breaks my heart a little bit, but as I said, I have to be honest as well. Then I'm gonna talk about the two bronzers. If I had to pick one of these, I would definitely go for the Milani Silky one. It has to do with the shade, but then also to do with the finish, because the finish of this, is beautiful. This is so beautiful on the skin. I have no words. I have talked about the Fenty bronzer before on my channel and said that I've used this so many times and I don't get that like wow effect as a lot of other people do. I think that I would say that the Milani one comes in third for me now. I do have the Balm bronzer at first and then my Jouer bronzer, but I think that this could actually knock down the Jouer bronzer just because it is a little bit of a different tone to it. But yeah, as I said, it's beautiful, and I have the shade Sun Kissed, which is the number 2. The concealer was really nice, like a good medium concealer. You do get a fair amount of product in this, 5 milliliters. It's not bad, but it's not whoa super impressive. It blends up beautifully and powder sits on top of it really well, so nothing to complain about here. I don't think that this will be for everyone, but it is a face oil, smells a little bit yucky, would not repurchase, but since it was that affordable, of course I had to buy it. Ardell foundation, holy grail. I think that this is the best foundation I've tried this year, so I'm real happy about that. Natasha Denona Bloom Palette is incredible. I truly recommend this, and I can't wait for the 17th to come around so I can purchase her tan palette, because I will do that. I'm super impressed by this. So the blush, you do need super little, especially if you go in with a duo fiber brush. I'm just overall super impressed, but as I said, this shade I don't use because I don't love a peachy blush and it's a little bit too dark for my skin. Again, we did talk about the super glow. Just switch up the brush and you'll be fine. I think also that you kind of need to get under the first layer in order to really get that wow effect. Sometimes it is like that with highlights. So I've talked for a very long time. I do hope that you liked this video and that you thought that this was a little bit fun instead of just me sitting here and talk, so you could see a little bit how the product is applied and so on. But as I said, that is gonna do it for today. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you did not like the video, please feel free to thumbs the video down. If you want to subscribe, please do so. I would really love to have you. We are getting close to hitting 8K, so that would be like super cool. But yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Bye!